I wanted to do a quick update on the Ebola epidemic today and where it's at. And I want to talk in particular about three things. Where the situation is in West Africa, where the episodic infections are beyond West Africa, and what the future holds. Let me start with the West Africa case, because there I think we're dealing with a situation where we're now getting some mixed messages about the infection. In Liberia in particular, there's been a downturn in the transmission rate, and that's got a lot to do with the way that aid groups are now being more trusted by the Liberian community, and it stems from something that the Doctors Without Borders group did, in which they made the treatment centres less daunting, and that assisted in getting faster treatment for patients and in faster disposal of bodies. And on both grounds, on both counts, we're reaching a situation now in which the Liberia situation is looking appreciably better. We need to keep that in perspective. The head of the CDC said overnight that if you look at West Africa as a whole, you're still looking at a bushfire that's out of control. So there is still some difficult, dangerous months ahead in West Africa. Let me move to the second point, which is how is the situation looking outside West Africa? Many people will have heard on the news this morning of the death of the Sierra Leone doctor who died overnight in Omaha. And he brings to about 20 the number of cases of Ebola infection that have been treated outside West Africa. Many of those people contracted the virus in West Africa and sought treatment outside, and they're primarily doctors, nurses and aid workers. There have been a few cases of secondary infection though, both in Dallas and in Madrid, which show that the virus is difficult and infectious, even against modern medicine. We can expect further cases of episodic infection while West Africa continues to provide the virus in large quantities. And it's important for us to watch where those cases of episodic infection occur. It would be hazardous for them to go untreated or undiscovered in an Asian metropolis or in a country like PNG, which has a relatively underdeveloped medical infrastructure. And that takes me to my third point is, what's the future look like for Ebola now? Well, in the long run, the main weapon against Ebola is going to be a vaccine. And we're seeing already a procedure of compressing about a decade's worth of scientific and medical research into about a year to build that vaccine. That vaccine will be available sometime in 2015, and that would give us our main backstop against the spread of the disease. But there are some difficult months between now and when that's available, and Australian policymakers in particular need to remember both the potential near enemy as well as the actual far enemy. The actual far enemy we have to deal with because it's the source of the infection, but we need to be almost in the terms of a Harry Potter character, we need to be constantly vigilant against the possibility of Ebola coming closer to our own shores.